Hi guys! For today's episode of the Electronic Corner, we go to Germany, a country we have visited several times already, but this is not surprising, since a lot of cool electronic music comes from there. Stahlschlag has been mentioned a few weeks ago by Ultra, another guest of this show, since they did a collaboration together. And now it's time to learn a bit more about him. Let's go! Hi Sebastian, it's good to have you here with us at the Electronic Corner. Thanks a lot for accepting my invitation. How are you today?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, well, now I'm fine. We had some technical problems, but we have fixed them, hopefully. And so we can kick in immediately with the first question, which is about your music genre. So what inspired you to create music in the rhythmic industrial noise genre?
Yeah, it's a story I really love to tell because I can just tell that I didn't enjoy such music when I started to create such music. Well, my wife was very much into acts like Zotox, Kiev, Feinflug. She really loved industrial noise, rhythmic noise. And well, I was working on some other stuff, so dark electronic music. And so she just asked me, hey, why don't you just try to create some stuff like Zotox and Kiev and so on? And so, yeah, I just started to play around and creating beats and playing around with distortion and adding some noise to it. And yeah, I felt in love with such kind of music. And this is why, why there's Stahlschlag. And yeah, it was her idea to give it the name Stahlschlag because it's a harsh German word and describes the music pretty well. And so it was just an experiment, and yeah, we created some songs and put them on the internet and our website and on a platform called MP3DE. And so some DJs from online radio station got aware of us and contacted us. And well, we didn't expect anything. We just put it out there. And yeah, also a record label came later to us and released our first album. And so the story just started there 2006, and now 2024 I'm still there and still make some noise, and I don't think I will end it so soon.
Yeah, well, we don't want you to end soon. And actually, let me add a couple of things. But first of all, Xotox will be happy to hear this. As you know, he was one of our guests, and I know that he's following the podcast. So thanks for mentioning him. And the other, it's interesting because what you said reminded me of what Nano, in fact, another guest of the show told me about, like, he in his case, it was like he was totally unaware of the existence of, like, EBM, industrial noise, that kind of stuff. And just by accident, he found out about it. And in your case, it was like, actually, you hated it at first, and then you fell in love with it later. So, because, we all have the impression like, I wanted to do this since I was like 10 years old. But actually, that's not the case. Many times the artist, started quite, well, not late, but, later than when we would expect to like or discover the kind of music that they actually are so fond of now. Yeah, and related to that, are there any specific themes or messages that you aim to convey through your music?
Yeah, so all of my music has kind of a message. First of all, it's always my feelings I express with the music, my anger or my sad feelings or anything I think about, like how society works or not works and how we destroy our great world and so on. And often it's the theme or the topic of my music. And also all the albums have kind of a theme or topic. So sometimes it's more of the message or the content of the message. I don't know how to say, or sometimes it's more about that I try out things and put them together on an album. So, using more softer or cheesy synth melodies and add some industrial noise to them, or I play around with, the album I will release in summer. It's kind of a tribal industrial thing. I put some mystic elements there, like, world instruments or voices, Indian voices and so on. And this is also a theme or a topic of an album. So, it's kind of always not a concept album, but it's that I love to have a certain sound for every album, and there are also messages in it. And so the recent albums are more related to stuff that's going on in society, like the Alive album was related to the COVID pandemic. When I wrote it, I was very angry about how society dealt with the situation, how some people dealt with it, like they don't want to wear masks and denied that there's a pandemic going on. It made me really angry, so I expressed it in this music with tracks like Hate, Wohlstandstrots. And well, the last album I did was more related to the war going on, Russia, Ukraine. And so there's always some kind of topic, but it's not, I don't express it so much. So I don't go out and promote my album with a message. So it's more like that I know for sure what's going on there. But I also love if people listen to a track and they have their own thoughts about it, their own ideas, their own feelings. So.
Let's talk about your side project, Fundustrial. Why did you feel the need to create it, and how do you incorporate samples from cartoons into it?
Yeah, so the idea about Fundustrial is pretty old. At some point, when I was very active on MySpace, when MySpace was a very good platform for artists, I met other artists there, and one artist we were talking about releasing a compilation with some other artists in the industrial noise genre. So the good thing about MySpace was it was very much for the music. So you found easily related artists and got new connections there and stuff like this. And so, yeah, we just messaged some artists, asked them if they would like to join. And we were thinking about a name for the compilation. And my idea was, hey, let's call it Fundustrial because, we do it for fun and it's industrial. So Fundustrial sounds pretty good. And the compilations are still out there on Bandcamp. So if someone is interested, and just check them out. And yeah, and so many years later, I had the idea to create a side project, not totally the opposite of Stahlschlag, but more relaxing, more fun. And when I was younger, and the cybergoth scene is still out there, but there were acts, or there are still acts like XRX and other artists which had this idea to use funny samples at some point in some tracks and create more rave music around it. I could call it like that. So cyber industrial. And I always enjoyed it. It was always a lot of fun. And so I decided, why not trying by myself? So I like this music and I'm a big fan of cartoons and I still watch a lot of cartoons. And so I thought, why not sample funny stuff? And my rule is if something makes me laugh hard, I will try to get it into a track.
Lately, you have been heavily promoting, especially on Instagram, as far as I can see, the so-called Industrial Madness Wrestling Show. And it sounds like a lot of fun. So, of course, I have to ask you about it. What is it exactly? And is it still possible to participate, for example?
Yes, I'm a fan of wrestling since I was a kid. So I grew up end of 80s, 90s, and it was a big thing in Germany. Like the Hulk Hogan, the Undertaker, and all of the guys. And and some years ago, I rediscovered my love for it. So there are game series out there, WW2K games, and I just bought the recent version on a sale, and I really loved it. And you can create but you have many possibilities to create characters and wrestlers in the game. And at some point in a Twitch event, I was at a chat and there were wrestling fans too, and I just wrote there, hey, I could create you all and let you fight against each other. And it was just a joke at this point. And I said, okay, and so 4 weeks ago, I started it 4 weeks ago. So why don't make it? It could be fun. And I asked some people and I posted about it, and we are almost 50 people. right now. And yeah, it's a simulation. It's in the game WW2K23, and you can simulate it all. So all the fights are simulated. So I don't play, or no one has to play it actually. And I make every wrestler equally strong. So it's just random who wins the titles and who fights against each other. And because I don't want it as a real competition, it should just be for fun. And it's growing constantly. So many people want to participate, and it's still possible. You can be there too, Sergio. So if you want to
Okay,
sing with
thank you.
all of us, just message me. It works like people send me a picture from them, so I have the head and upper body because I put it in the game. I need the height information, and I need a logo, and yeah, it's their preferred title songs. So the artists send me their music, and I just use them as title songs, because this idea is also to promote the music and the artists and the DJs, and it's just another way of promoting all of us. And yeah, it's for fun, and so we can have up to 200 custom wrestlers, and 50 spots are still available. So
Okay, good to know. I took note. Thanks a lot. And since we're talking about collaboration, how do you approach collaboration with other artists? Like, okay, partially actually you answered already, but it's like, do you usually approach them, or is it the opposite? Is it mostly your friends, or as long as you like an idea, even a total stranger may ask to do something with you?
on many different ways. So it's often not planned so much. It just happens. So when I see something on Instagram, for example, or hear something, and I think, okay, this is pretty cool, I just contact the other artist. But mostly not that I asked, hey, you're so cool, let's work together. It's more like do some small talk, some chit chat, and at some point it opens up. And um, I don't um, I don't search for it in a way. Mostly, really, it just happens. And sometimes, what I do for remix albums or stuff, I just do a post and ask who's interested to remix my music, and so they can just message me. And it's often a lot of people, which is just awesome. They want to collaborate. Or what I did in the last album was some working with some vocalists. They wrote the lyrics to some of my music and records the vocals. And I'm totally open. I really love to collaborate. It's one of the greatest things or greatest experiences, uh, since I make music, to meet people all over the world, artists all over the world. We collaborate. We can help each other. We can promote each other. We can do crazy things together. And it's also one of the reasons why I get so many people involved in a crazy wrestling idea, because I think they didn't think about doing such things. And yeah, this is just awesome. And this is really, I'm so grateful. And this is the best experience, I would say. Of course, it's always exciting to release new stuff and to get some feedback, and seeing DJs playing my music. It's amazing. But yeah, just to know people from the United States, from the Netherlands, from Italy, everywhere around the world, just because I make noise, it's amazing, really. And so yeah, sometimes they ask me, or one of the best things to mention, Sotox here again, is when I did the post that I look for remixes, he contacted me and asked if he could remix one of my songs, and I think, oh my God, it's my idol. And he wants to remix my music, and he let me remix his music. So it's really cool, and yeah, also fun. Or you did an interview with Ultra, and I did a song with her together, and we had to have a video together and collaborate on some levels. It's just so much fun. It's so amazing.
Absolutely. That's good. Now, as you know, my last question will be about the so-called studio demonstration. And I know that this concept is not new to you at all, since you have your own channel on Twitch, actually, and where you show your how you produce your music using Renoise. And so that made me very curious. So, what made you choose this DAW over other, like, more popular and recent products? Because I, of course, I'm a bit familiar with Renoise only, and I assume that later you will show us something about it. But just as an anticipation, can you tell us why you're using Renoise?
Yeah, it's again a coincidence. So like many of the things in my music career, or how you want to call it, when I was 16, a friend of my older brother was around, and he was producing music in Fast Tracker. It's a Microsoft DOS tracker, and yeah, he was there, and he just played around with it, and I was there too, and I was totally fascinated. I always had a weakness for programming and for computers. And I really loved the way how he created music by using tables, if you want to call it like that, and putting notes there step by step. And I was fascinated. Okay, this is a way I could imagine producing music too. And so I just started it. I had Fast Tracker 2. It was a very old computer. I just had a mono sound card, 8-bit, Sound Blaster, and not many samples. And really, I started from scratch, and it was just amazing. And not many effects also, but I could create my first tracks. And yeah, and then I discovered Renoise, and Renoise is made by two people from Ableton, or they were programmers for Ableton Live. And it was also more like a hobby project. So, but they wanted to get the idea of trackers into the modern area. And if you look at the history of trackers, it was mostly used to compose music for computer games. And there's also still a very active demo scene, which is more the chip tunes and stuff like this. But Renoise is it is very modern. The interface doesn't look very modern, but it supports all you need: VST effects, VST synthesizers, side chaining, and all the stuff you find in Cubase, Fruity Loops, or Ableton Live. But there's no piano roll, and this is something some artists miss, of course. But I never worked with a piano roll. Just I produced 2 tracks in Fruity Loops. But I'm not used to it. I'm used to work from top to bottom and not from left to right. So this is also very a big difference, I think, for other artists. And
Absolutely. I would be totally lost without the piano roller, I tell you. And if I had to work vertical, I don't even work with live, with the other function they have. You have the the 2 tabs that you can switch when you have work with clips, or you can work with the piano roller. I always work with the piano roller because I have no idea what to do with the clips.
yeah, but I'm I think it's always just a matter of using it. So if you use it for years and years,
Absolutely.
why switch? So, and I wanted to switch because I thought, okay, it's maybe another approach would make me more creative. But in the end, I just got back to Renoise, and I'm so happy that they're 2 developers, and they still do updates and try to make it all stable. It's pretty cheap too. In contrast to other software, and it comes with all you need. And I also use it as my platform when I perform my music. So it's really, really, really great. And yeah, I love that you can really, this is maybe what I need. You can do it all step by step. You can make so little changes at every point, and I use it. So I'm a software developer for real and a programmer. And this is one of the reasons why I like to work like this, because if I don't play with real synthesizers or record them or stuff. So, that's my workflow. And you can create beats really fast in it. This is also one of the greatest things here. And of course, what doesn't work so well is if you play a melody on a MIDI keyboard and you really want it there, you have to change a lot to do it, to do it right. But yeah, I have 5 music projects, and I produce every kind of music, from dark ambient, minimal ABM, industrial noise. All I do, Fundustrial, is all made in Renoise. So
Yeah. And besides Renoise, which other music making tools are you particularly fond of? What do you use?
it depends what you mean. If you talk about VST synthesizers and effects, I have way
Yeah,
too many.
hardware, software. Yeah. Well, what do you put inside Renoise, basically?
Yeah, it's all in the box. I do all the stuff there. So every synthesizer is a digital synthesizer, or every effect, or so also the mixing. I do all the mixing in Renoise too. Just mastering is in Reaper because I like to have all tracks in one project, so I can just compare them. It's not easy to do in Renoise, but I do everything in the box, so I don't have much hardware. I have hardware for my live performances. Because it wouldn't be so much fun if I would just put my laptop there and yeah, press the play button and then that's it. So I have to do stuff with some hardware too and some controllers, but in the end, everything in Renoise. And it's also a matter of space. I know some people who have a lot of synthesizers and great stuff all around them, and it's so cool. But I live in a very small apartment, so I have no choice. I have, yeah.
Yeah, like most of us, actually.
Yeah.
So finally, it's time for the studio demonstration. And yeah, as I said, I do expect to see something with Renoise, and so I'm very curious about it, as since I haven't seen it for quite some time, except for your videos, of course, on Twitch, which sometimes I watch. So, well, let's watch together what you have prepared for us.
Hi, Sergio. Hi, the Electronic Corner. It's a pleasure to me to show you my small home studio. It's just a table in my living room, and I will show you the software and also some MIDI gear I use to produce my tracks. So let's go. So what you see here is my main EW. So what you see here is the software I use to produce my tracks. I also mix and master mostly my tracks just in here. The software is called Renoise and it's a so-called tracker. And I'm used to work in trackers to produce music for over 20 years already. I tried other approaches like using Ableton Live or Fruity Loops. I used the piano rolls there and stuff that offers, which is missing here in Renoise. But in the end, I found out that I feel most comfortable to produce my tracks in Renoise just because I'm used to it a lot. At first sight, it maybe looks a little weird and unfamiliar if you're a music producer because the approach is a little different. You work like in tables and you put your notes everywhere you want them to be. If you work on a beat or stuff like this. But what I love about it so much is that it gives you all control of every little step. And in Renoise, you have the abilities to use all modern stuff like VST synthesizers, VST effects. You can sidechain. You can program any automation you can imagine. You can also use some commands on tracks, which are included here, which is also very nice because I love to have all this control. You input some hexadecimal numbers and and letters, and so you can kind of control what amount, what you trigger, what effect, and so on. But I also use some other gear to produce my music. I like to use this Cork My Cookie here when I want to get inspired and to find melodies suiting my tracks and my beats. I also use a Korg Nano control. It's a very small MIDI controller. I use it to mix several tracks, or I use it when I play a set online and I don't need all my big gear for it. So, this is very nice to have. So I can use it to navigate in Renoise, or I can just start and stop Renoise, or I can use this stuff, for example, for creating an automation for synthesizer or for an effect. And I also have a microphone here to record my voice for my streams or for my vocals. I have one project with vocals also. It's called Stiminal. And I mainly produce wearing headphones, and these are the Biodynamic PT990 Pro. I really like to use them. I produce with headphones because I don't want to annoy my wife or my cats too much. And I use a Yamaha interface, as my audio interface. So this is what I use to produce my tracks. If you like, you can watch how I produce music live on Twitch regularly. I show there how I get to the results and how I create my beats and my melodies and stuff like this. So welcome back, Sergio. Welcome back, the Electronic Corner. You just saw my small home studio where I produce my track, but it's not all what I use for my music stuff. I also have some gear I use when I perform on stage or when I do some performances on Twitch. And this is what I want to show you right now. So yeah, what you see here is that I use renoise for my live performances as well. I use it in a way that I have 3 lanes with some backing tracks and loops, and I trigger effects and samples and loops live using renoise. And how do I trigger the effects and how do I do it? Well, I use this one. This is a MIDI controller from AK. It's the MPD-24, and it comes with several pads, with several knobs, with some sliders for mixing, and I'm pretty happy with it. I use it for so many years already. It's pretty old, but it still does the job. And what I do there is that I trigger effects using a pad, and then I use knobs to trigger how much of the effect, and I can just navigate through the lanes to trigger the effects. It's a pretty good way to get the music more alive and to make it some different from the recorded stuff or from the released stuff. What I use is a Yamaha audio interface when I'm live on stage. It's a pretty decent mixing and audio interface. It has enough channels to use, like here for the microphone. And I connect it just with a sampler I use, so I don't need so many channels here. The sampler I use is a Roland SP555, and I use it to play samples and loops live while performing in renoise, and it works pretty well. I do it like this for such a long time, and I can just trigger sounds from here, and I just put them live into my performances. So I won't make a big secret about that. I'm not able to play all my beats and all my noise totally live, but what I just try my best to do some kind of live mixing and live effects to make it fun and to make it fun for me, to make it fun for the crowd. And yeah, that's it from my live setup. And yeah, I'm very grateful and thankful that I had the chance to show you how I work and also to show you how I do my performances. So thank you very much, the Electronic Corner. Pleasure to be here.
Thanks a lot, Sebastian. Yeah, that's exactly what I was kind of like expecting to to see. It was very interesting, and well, good luck with your future projects, and definitely you can count on me on that madness wrestling thing. You'll hear soon from me and hopefully from other people who are watching this episode and also want to participate. Please do it. And well, thanks again and take care.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sergio. Just a pleasure to be here. And I love to talk about everything related to my music and to music. And yeah, so thank you again. And yeah, we want to see you fighting in the ring and get all brutal.
My best. Let's see what happens. Bye.
Goodbye.